This is a video response to AmericanWayne's question to atheists, what is the gospel to you? Uh, First, I'd like to start by saying that I see a bunch of comments here where people are really driving their personal opinions, and while I don't mind that so much, and I do agree with a lot of them, I'd kind of like to base my comment a little bit more in history and some of the archaeological findings surrounding Christianity. I see Triple Judy says that the Gospels are a series of mythological stories passed on over hundreds of years based on fifth-hand fables written by ignorant, mysterious authors. I do completely agree with that. I believe that the Bible was a book written by men commissioned by King James to both appease and oppress the masses, to say that if you don't worship God, bad things are going to happen to you, and it's a completely perverted system. It's patriarchal in nature, meaning that women are subservient to men, and anybody who doesn't believe that should only have to pick up a Bible to understand. One passage in particular that comes to mind is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 9 through 15. And the subheading here in this particular Bible that I have is Women in Public Worship. Verse 9 starts, "In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety." Seems a little sexist to me. Again, something to signify that it was written by men who wanted to keep women under their heel. There's also tons of other atrocities within the Bible. Not just the Bible, but the Quran as well. I know the Quran is not the Christian gospel, but it is plagiarized nearly word for word from the Christian gospel. So there's that to consider. I also see somewhere that somebody, Hal Barbour, mentioned something about Viking mythology in comparison to Christian. Well, not necessarily in comparison to Christian mythology, but looking at it the same way, that it's just mythology. I thought I should mention something about the Vikings as well. The first person to preach in Denmark, I believe, was a monk by the name of Willy Broard. That began somewhere in the era 710 to 718 AD. Now, there's a wide gap in time between that and the first significant Viking raid on Lindisfarne in the British Isles in 793 AD. Now, in that large gap of time, there were a number of atrocities that the Christians did whenever these people who worshipped their old gods and were peaceful. They didn't want to convert to Christianity and this new singular God. They didn't think that it was right. They didn't appreciate having somebody come in and tell them that they were wrong. Things got a little more serious. The church decides to send the Knights Templar to Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and they completely started wreaking havoc on these cultures. They stole their lands. Ancient pagan monuments were completely destroyed, and churches were built in their place. And they killed people. They killed people who didn't want to convert to Christianity just because they didn't want to convert to Christianity. So they're taking the gospel of their Lord and this supposedly all-knowing, all-loving God, and completely perverting it and destroying lives for it. And this is still going on today in different ways, but it is still going on. So what do I think the gospel is? I think it is poison. I think it is a perverted, sickening, disgusting, and supremely patriarchal outlook on life, and I don't agree with it. I haven't agreed with it for quite some time. I can remember from a very early age asking questions because it didn't make sense. So I don't mean to insult anybody's beliefs. I think that your beliefs are yours to have. You have every right to those beliefs. But I also, when you ask me this question, I reserve the right to answer honestly, and I believe that the gospel is disgusting. You know, a loving God who tells me that I have to love Him. To quote Christopher Hitchens, it is the essence and the very definition of the word sadomasochism. So that is what I think of your gospel.